Hello friends, welcome back, or if you are new here, welcome. It's a beautiful sunny day here and I have some fall activities I'm wanting to get done today. First, I'm wanting to get some loaves of bread started this morning. We have some company coming over for dinner and pumpkin carving, and then we will be heading into town for an annual Halloween event. I'm going to include some clips in this video from our recent trip to the thrift store. And I'm also wanting to jar more bone broth for the fridge to use in upcoming recipes. I'm also really excited to try my hand at tea dyeing in today's video. I have never done natural dyeing before, but I came across an article about it and I wanted to try it out. I loved the color from the avocado peels, so if this turns out, I'm hoping to try that one next. But for today, I'm going to dye my sheets with tea, so stay tuned if you would like to see how that turns out. I will put this bread recipe in the description box below, but it is a super simple white bread recipe that I found and I have been thrilled with. I spend a lot of fall and winter testing out new recipes and trying to find new ways to contribute more homemade things into my life. So I was quite excited to add this bread recipe to my weekly rotation. I was even more thrilled when my 14-year-old son said it was much better than store-bought. It really warms my heart when my family appreciates all of my efforts, and it definitely fills my mama heart. I ended up using this bread before we headed out to the activities in town this night. I sliced it up and I did grilled cheese sandwiches with bacon on them, and then I served it with a simple rice and veggie bone broth soup that I had made earlier. I would like to take this moment and thank you all for joining my channel and following along with me and my family. It means so much to me to have such an awesome community for support. Many of you who have seen my previous videos know that we lost our 5th child earlier this year at the age of 13 months. And during that time of grief, I really set out to find that love and support from a community. So thank you for being there for me. Your continuous support really means the world to me. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I ask that you please do so. I would love to have you a part of this journey with me. But thank you everyone that takes the time to follow along and comment and like my videos. It means so much to me that you're on this journey with me. I'm seasoning and going to slow roast this chicken for a dip recipe I'm going to be making. We are having guests join us tonight, so I am going to be making what I call chicken fiesta dip. I'm going to just throw this chicken in the oven and it will slowly cook. And then once it's cooled down, I'll debone it and chop it up for the dip. I got this recipe from my mother-in-law years ago, and it's one of my favorites to make for get-togethers. It's a great melty, bubbly, cheesy dish that many people often rave about, and you can serve it with crackers or chips. I believe she got it from a magazine years and years ago, so I will go ahead and print it out for the description box below so you can also have this recipe if you would like to make it. While I'm waiting for the chicken to cool down so I can debone it, I am kneading the bread and getting it ready to bake. It had its first rise and I am kneading it, and then I'll separate it into 2 loaves, and then it will have its second rise in the loaf pans over by the oven so it can be nice and warm for it to rise. I will put this chicken fiesta dip recipe that I'm making here in the description box below. A little bit of a spoiler alert though, but I ended up dropping this entire dish and breaking the actual dish that it was in. I was so bummed, and so next time I make this, I'll have to show you the finished result because unfortunately I did not end up being able to show you in this video. You will, however, see the complete disastrous mess that it made. I mean, it was just melty cheese all over the side of the oven. It went under the oven. We had to move stuff in order to clean it out. My 2 older kids, they came down and saw, and I think they felt so bad. So they ended up helping me clean up the glass from the dish and all the cheese, and just, it was a big mess, but took 10 minutes and we just moved on. I think I was more bummed about breaking the pie dish that I had found. I had just found that in the thrift store, I think like the day before. And I actually showed it in this video. I was washing it, and so I'll show it to you. But I just thought it was the cutest thing. It just looks like a vintage pie pan. It was ceramic and it had little flowers on it. And it reminded me of some of the stuff my mom had when I was growing up. So I think I was more upset about breaking that pie pan than I actually was like not having the dip for our guests and stuff. I will have to check the actual recipe because I usually just do this from memory. I've been making this recipe for so long, but I think the actual recipe calls for like tomatoes to be diced and put into the dip mixture. However, I have a lot of people in my family that don't really like tomatoes. I love them, but a lot of my family does not. So I just kind of I'm extra about it, and I will just slice them in half and kind of just do like a decorative flower or something on top. And that way they're large chunks and they don't have to eat them. They can eat around them. Another recipe I'm making for this evening is Big Mac salad. This is one of my family's favorite salads, and I often make it as a meal for us during the week. It's pretty easy and it's quick. I usually have all the ingredients on hand, so it makes for a really quick weeknight meal. But it's also a great to serve at get-togethers and parties. Most people enjoy Big Macs, and it, in my opinion, tastes pretty similar, if not almost exactly like it. My grandmother is a huge fan of this salad, so I often like to make it when she's around. But she grew up very poor, and then when she had kids early, she married my grandfather when they were very young, and I believe they had kids at like 17, well, starting at 17. And so they had 5 kids and were very, very poor. My mom often tells me about how they had to build their house and they had to go, her and her siblings, down the stream to get water and stuff for their house. So anyway, McDonald's was very much a treat to them, and my grandmother loved Big Macs. And so when she found out that I make this salad, she was so excited to try it. And now I try to make it most times when I see her, because it was always just a treat for her to have it. And so I don't know, I like seeing that joy on her face. It's such a little thing, but I love it. I wanted to share some pictures and video of our Halloween events that we went to. Lincoln is obsessed with this hot dog costume. He found it while we were thrifting, 2 years ago. He was the hot dog last year too. This year he thought he would mix it up a bit, and he put a witch's hat on and was telling everybody that he was a spooky hot dog. So it was really funny. And then my oldest didn't want to go. He thought he was a little too old and he rather hang out with his friends. So he was not with us. My daughter wanted just to be a mouse. And then Theo, he found a bear mask at a thrift store, and he was immediately drawn to it. If you've seen my other videos, Theo is quite the character. He's drawing his pumpkin right now, the eyes and all that he wanted my husband to carve out. And he ended up doing a face on each side of his pumpkin. I'm not sure why, but he was excited to do multiple faces. And so that's what he's doing here. He was like a little artist. He put a lot of effort into it. It was great. And he was so proud of his work that he actually wanted his pumpkin in his room so he could see it when he was, going to bed. But he has those little candles, the little battery operated candles, they put in their pumpkins, and they had them in their rooms. This was the next morning. I'm just going around and cleaning up. This area I haven't really messed with a lot since I put all the pumpkins and stuff there on the fireplace. So I thought I would take them down and clean behind them, give it a good vacuum, and kind of pick up a little after we had a eventful night of Halloween activities. There's pumpkin seeds and all that all over the floor. I'm also rearranging it a little. I brought out the utensils for our fireplace since we're using it a lot more. The nights are getting cooler and we like to heat our house with our fireplace. We haven't started cooking on it yet. We probably will once it gets a little cooler, but as of now, we have not been cooking on it yet this year, but we have had it for heat in the evening. So I'm just kind of wiping everything down and, like I said, putting the utensils for the fireplace out so they're readily available for us to use. I didn't realize they were so hard to see, but I'm showing you the rocks. We had someone hand paint these rocks for Hayden's funeral, and it was something that we had sitting in a basket for people to be able to pick up. And she hand painted every single one of these rocks, and with little pictures, she put his name, and it was just the sweetest thing. And so we have a couple of rocks still left that people didn't end up taking, and I have them all in this little dish down here. One thing I've really tried to work on over the years is limiting our food waste. So, right before we end up going to the grocery store, I will go through all of our fruits, our vegetables, the meat, everything in our fridge, and stuff that is getting to the end of its life, stuff that I am probably going to be replacing. I like to take all those items and either make a big dish, put it in the freezer, or just use them in some way. A lot of times I'll end up using them in multiple dishes. So, one way I'm doing that is I had just a small amount of carrots and celery left, some other vegetables. My garden is still producing quite a bit of okra. So, I chopped some of that up and I am just making a big pot of chicken and vegetable soup. We ended up eating some of this that day, I believe, for lunch, and then I also froze about half of it, and then the other half we put in our fridge for later over the weekend, just as a quick lunch or something. A lot of the times in the summer, I like to take, when we have an abundance of tomatoes and onions and peppers in the garden, I like to take all those and make like a pico de gallo. I like to make salsas, stuff like that, that I can jar and then my family can eat throughout the week or, whenever we get to it. That way it's not wasted, and it's usually something that if we can't just, eat the pico de gallo or whatever with chips, I will use it in recipes, on tacos, on eggs in the morning. It's something that usually is very versatile that I can use up ingredients that need used and that we can use slowly over the next week. I'm just huge on not wasting food, especially in this day when groceries are so expensive. I mean, we go and we spend like $300 each week to feed our family, and I make almost all of our meals. I try to make a lot of them from scratch, and we eat almost all of our meals every single week at home. So, groceries are just insane right now, and they're not going to go down. So, I try to do my best to use what we have to the fullest. Here's some clips from our recent thrift store trip. Some of the items that I did end up leaving behind I thought were super cute though. We love coming to this particular thrift store. We believe that it's a pretty good cause that they donate to. And then also, they are one of the few thrift stores that we've found that have not completely just jacked up the prices. So they still have very reasonable prices. The staff is always so sweet and friendly. So we enjoy going there. And then we randomly found this one on the way home. It's a brand new one. She said she just opened and she was so sweet. So I will definitely be going back. They had the coolest things and again, great prices for a lot of their stuff. I'm washing some of the things that I did end up finding and bringing home, and you will see the dish that I broke also, but these are just a couple of the things that I found that were a great price. A lot of them were like 25 cents, 75 cents. So I think I only spent in total this day $9 for all the items that I ended up getting. So, and I even got like a sheet to tea dye, and I plan on using that in my pantry makeover that will hopefully be coming within the next few weeks. Anyway, I was wanting to make little curtains with this tea dye sheet that I got at the thrift store. So I'm hoping it turns out. I'm really excited about the project. And of course, I will be sharing it here with you. I got this little dish. I thought it was super cute. It was 75 cents, and I got it to make a candle for my grandma for Christmas. She loves candles. I love candles, and I recently just learned how to make candles. So I really enjoy getting the dishes from thrift stores and making them into candles. So when I saw that, I thought it would be the perfect gift, and that's what I'll be doing for my grandma for Christmas. I'm starting the water for the tea in this big pot. This is the biggest one I have, and it wasn't big enough to actually put the sheets in. So my husband ended up going and cleaning out one of our Home Depot buckets. And I bought the sheet for, I think it says $2 at the thrift store. And I'm just going to put we have our bed sheets and then this sheet also. I'm going to put them in separate Home Depot buckets. And then once the tea cooks and steeps for quite a while, I did a couple of hours, I'll then pour the water and tea over the sheets and stuff in these buckets. And I didn't realize it at the time, but my camera was not recording. I think little hands were trying to help with pressing record for me, and they ended up turning it off. So that is why you didn't really see that entire process, but that was how the color kind of turned out. I ended up letting them sit for, I think it was 6 hours, and I did notice that the quality of the sheets really made a difference in the color. While I am pouring my bone broth into different jars, I'll go ahead and tell you more about it. I just wanted to let you know what I was doing. But so the higher thread count sheets, they ended up taking the color much nicer. The lower thread count sheets did not. They did change in color, but it was a more muted color. The higher thread count sheets, I feel like, were a much nicer color. They really, really took to it, and in way less time. So if you do plan on doing this project, I do suggest, based on my results, getting the higher quality sheets because they gave me a better color. But that's all I have for you today. As always, thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I hope you have a great rest of your day. I will see you next time. Bye.